Welcome, folks, to the video lecture series on the Excel. Our video lecture series is divided into total 9 videos, with the starting video in which we'll talk about the algebraic functions, and the video number 2 in which we'll talk about the spreadsheet formatting exercise, and then video 3 will talk about the print layout, and after that we'll go to the some complex formulas such as engineering formulas in the spreadsheet, and after that we'll talk about VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP, and after that, we'll move to the if statement and audit. And finally, we will finish the syllabus with the last three topics, that is conditional data, data validation, and then graphing and pivot table. So that compiles our syllabus for the Excel. Now, before I jump into the video number 1 topic, that is how to use the algebraic functions, I will first of all talk about some of the basics of a worksheet. So on the bottom left corner, if you see there is a plus sign, if I click onto this plus sign, a new sheet opens up. As soon as I again click onto this one, another sheet opens up. Now, if I wanted to delete this sheet, let's say if I've generated an extra sheet, I'll click onto where it says the sheet 22 and right click onto this one, and then I'll click onto the delete. And if let's say if I want to rename the sheet, again, I re-click onto the sheet number 21. And then in this menu box, I will click onto the rename. And as soon as I click onto the rename, I will be able to change the name of the sheet. Let's say I wanted to name it as XYZ underscore ABC. That will be the new name of the sheet. Now, in this worksheet, I can see on the top there are some alphabets written here. These alphabet represents the column. So column A, column B, column C, column D, and so on and so forth. There can be more than 16,000 columns in a Excel worksheet. And on the left side, I can see there are some numbers represented. These numbers represent the rows, and there can be more than 1 million rows in an Excel sheet. Now, where this column and the row intersect, that is called a cell. So this rectangular box you are seeing on your screen is called a cell, and this is an intersection of a column and a row. So, and the address will also be represented by the column and the row, and that I can see it in this top left rectangle here. So C4 is the address for this particular cell. And if I go here, this cell is represented as the address of this cell will be D4. Now, if I wanted to change the name or the address of this cell, I can remove this and I can rename this one. Let's say I wanted to name it as DFG. So DFG will be the new name of this cell. Whenever I'll come back to this cell, it will name it as DFG. So again, if I came back here, the address or the name of this cell is DFG. And now, if I wanted to open a new workbook, I'm going to click onto the file and I can click onto this one. That's going to open up a new workbook for me. If I wanted to open a previous workbook, I can click onto the open, and then from here I can select any of the previous workbooks which I've generated. So that was about some bit of an introduction about the worksheet. Now we're gonna go into our today's topic, that is applying some of the basic formulas and functions into the Excel. So the very first formula which I wanted to apply is the sum. So if I select this, this is where I wanted to apply that. I wanted to show the result for the sum of the different numbers. So here are some of the numbers given to me. I wanted to add all these numbers. So first thing I'll do is I'll press equal to. Whenever I wanted to do any operation in Excel, I need to press equal to. Equal to. Now I wanted to add the numbers, so I will press start with the command sum. SUM. As soon as I start typing SU, it will start giving me all the commands which start with SU. So I want this command sum. So I'm going to double click onto the sum, and that pops up the sum command for me. And down here there is an instruction bar. It guides me how shall I proceed in while entering the numbers. So it says number one, comma number two, so and so forth. So I'm going to select the number one, comma number two. If I, let's say I wanted to add only two numbers, then I'll close the bracket. If I wanted to add the third number, I'll press comma and select the third number two. And now I'll close the bracket. That's going to give me the addition of the first three numbers. Now, if there are large numbers, so something like this, there are multiple numbers in this column. I wanted to add all of them. So another way of adding all of them is I'll press equal to, again, I'll start with the command sum and select this command, and then I'll select the first one and then drag it right to the end and then press enter. That's going to give me the sum of all the numbers for in this column. Another way of adding is I can use the mathematical operation also. So equal to, I wanted to add, let's say the first two numbers, this number plus the other number is 76. I will press enter. I'll be able to add the two numbers here. Now for subtract, there is no as such command. You need to use the mathematical symbol for this one. So if I want to subtract the two numbers, let's say I wanted to subtract 12 out of 76. So I'll press equal to 76 minus 12. That's going to give me the final answer as 64. There is no such command for the subtraction. Now let's move to the third one. The command for the multiplication is the product. So equal to product, product, and then the numbers which I wanted to multiply. If I wanted to multiply more than two numbers, again, I can use the technique which I used while while adding the two numbers. So I can select one and I can keep on dragging as many numbers I wanted to multiply together. So I wanted to multiply these three numbers together. So I'll select these numbers, press enter. That's going to give me the multiplication of these three numbers. You can do it step by step also. Equal to product, 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 and then select the first number, comma, second number, comma, third number. That's another way of multiplying the numbers. And again, if you wanted to use the symbol, you can use the symbol too for multiplication. Equal to first number, then you'll select the star, and then second number, press enter. That's going to give you the multiplication of the two numbers. Now let's look into the division. For division also, there is no such command, only you can use the forward slash to divide the two numbers. So equal to, I will select the, let's say I would wanted to divide the 76 with 12. So I'll select the 76 and then, oops, I'm going to do this up here so that you can see what's going on. Otherwise, it will be a little confusing if I'm going to keep on moving the screen here and there. So let's see this. Equal to, I wanted to divide 76 with 12. So 76 and then forward slash and divided by 12, and that's going to give me the final answer. There is one command which you can use, but that's only going to give you the quotient. So as the command suggests, equal to quotient, I can use the quotient command, and it says the numerator 76 becomes the numerator divided by the 12. That's going to give you the final answer as 6, but that's only going to give you the quotient in this case. Now let's look into the next one, the percentage. If I wanted to find out the percentage, let's say I wanted to find the 5% of 45, how much is that? Oh, I'm going to say equal to 5% multiplied by 45. That's going to give me the answer as 2.25. I'm going to put it in the value form so that you can easily understand. So if you went to the market, you spent $45 and you paid 5% tax. So how much money you paid total in taxes? You paid $2.25 in taxes. And the total money you will pay, that will be equal to this number plus this number. That will be the total amount you will pay. So you can calculate the percentages in the Excel too. And now the next one I'll talk about is the average function. Let's say I wanted to take the average of all these numbers. So direct command for finding the average is average equal to average is the command I'm going to use, and select all these numbers and press enter. That's going to give me the average of the numbers. Okay, now the final function of the day, that is the absolute function. So absolute function helps us to do the work easily, means we don't need to keep on repeating the thing again and again. With the help of absolute function, we can save a lot of time. So what is an absolute function? First of all, say this is you again, you went to the market, you spent $45, you paid 5% tax onto it, and how much money you paid in total. I wanted to calculate that equal to 45 plus 45 times it by 5%. This is the total money you paid. Let's say you bought another product of $88, $97, and so on and so forth. You wanted to calculate how much money you will pay individually for on this, how much money you will pay if you purchased a product of $88, if you purchased a product of $97, how much money you will pay. I one way of doing that is, again, I keep on doing it in a long way, that equal to this number plus this number plus this number multiply by 5%. That's one way of doing it, but I don't want to do that. I want just one shortcut with which I just keep on dragging it and it gives me the answer. So that's where the absolute function comes into the picture. So let's do this question without using the absolute function. So if I move this in the downward direction, see what happens. It's 45. This number is 88. This number is 97. It gets printed out here. Now, the beauty of using the Excel is it also helps us in understanding where we are making the mistake. If I click onto this one, it clearly shows me H3, which is a red cell, that it is moving one to the down. As this blue cell moved one to the down, the red cell also has moved, and there is nothing in here. That's why my answer was wrong. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to fix this cell. So how can I fix this cell? I can fix it by taking the absolute reference. I can take the absolute reference by selecting Fn F4. As soon as I select Fn4, it will fix this particular cell. Now, if I drag it in the downward direction, I will be able to get the correct result for all the numbers. So if you see, this is fixed now. So hopefully you understood how to use the basic formulas. Again, one more time, recap, we use the sum. You can add the numbers by using the command, or you can use the symbol, and subtract only you have to use the symbol. For multiplication, you can use the product command. For division, there is no such command. Percentages, we talked about the absolute function and average. So hopefully you were able to understand how to use the basic functions. In the next video, we will talk about the spreadsheet formatting exercise. Till then, goodbye.